This is Dave Meltzer with Entrepreneurs the Playbook, and I got the dynamic duo of CBD, Sunday Scaries co-founders, Mike Sill and Beau Schmitt. Welcome to the Playbook.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome, man. Well, we have so much in common. I love young entrepreneurs, especially from San Diego, and you guys are in a huge space with a lot of independent and dependent variables that are changing quickly. Give me a little bit of background on one, how you evolved into Sunday Scaries, and get into some of the details of where it's going.
Certainly.
For sure. So Beau and I actually had the privilege of owning a bar and grill together here in San Diego. We were both in hospitality for almost a decade each, and then partnered up to open up a really cool neighborhood sports bar with a concentration on craft beer when that was booming in San Diego. And most people know, if not, here you go, but the restaurant industry is just incredibly competitive and unforgiving. The profit margins are slim, and if you don't become the iconic or timeless, Cheers type place in the first 2 years, it's really tough to continue on after that honeymoon stage. So we got incredibly stressed out, to put it lightly. Beau and I were both working in the business and on the business. So we'd be running the floor and bartending and expoing food and bussing tables during operating hours, and then diving into the P&L, figuring out how to save costs or book events and promotions when we weren't getting our hands dirty in the business. We found ourselves becoming slaves to our own creation. There's actually a really cool book about this called E-Myth by Michael Gerber. And Beau and I both read that and laugh our asses off on just how relatable it is to the situation that we were in. And even to this day, Beau will send me time hop text messages in the morning with like photos from 2, 3, 4 years ago. Just crazy to see how far we've come. But yeah, basically we were just overworked and swimming upstream at our old business. And our buddy Garrett invited us out to play some golf and gave us some CBD. And immediately we just felt the cool, calm, collected feeling, and had an extremely enjoyable day off, just hanging out with the homies. And Beau's very growth oriented and saw the pitfalls of a brick and mortar business kind of towards, year 2, year 3, and had a vision of getting us into e-com. So all we needed was a product at the time, and we found one that day golfing.
That is awesome. So, what's so interesting is, as much as it was probably one of the most difficult times of your life running in the hospitality world from the bottom up and knowing the entire business and working hands-on in the entire business, as an investor, someone that looks at, literally thousands of deals, has a TV show that does hundreds of deals. I look for entrepreneurs that have the ground up experience, right? I don't want someone that graduated from Harvard and has only gone to school and, can understand the P&L better than you two guys will ever understand it, but hasn't cleaned a bathroom, right? Or puke off the floor and, kick somebody out of a bar or whatever else, all the fun stuff that you had to do. Do you now, looking back, realize the value of that experience? Albeit the pain, but do you see the extraordinary value compared to like going to business school?
Yeah, well, it was basically like $1 million graduate program. And I know we can get a little brash, but our favorite saying that we would joke to each other was every day is a Monday and every day is Dick Kick Monday. Because we basically had to get alligators in. I mean, everything that could go wrong would go wrong. Bathrooms going down on Super Bowl weekend, power going out on New Year's Eve. I mean, everything that could would. And you just had to learn to, take it day by day, focus on big picture stuff and not let the small things kind of bog you down. But certainly starting a scalable e-com business was like tranching out of the mud when compared to running a brick and mortar business where you have to generate income between, X and Y. So.
Well, it's also nice having an infinity as an audience when you're in an e-com business. And that's like a great lesson when coming from the brick and mortar traditional side of business, getting into understanding the size, scope, and scale of an audience when you're in e-com.
Mm-hmm.
And it's extraordinary. And I don't think still people grasp the size of the potential of any product that's out there. I mean, obviously you're in a hyper competitive space and still doing very well, and there's plenty more than enough business for everyone. But the size, scope, and scale is incredible with compared to a brick and mortar sports bar, in San Diego, where you only can draw so many people and you can only fit so many people in there. The infinities, as I call them, the expansive nature of the business. One other question, obviously you guys have also been fortunate to be in e-com, now that COVID has come out, I'm sure you're especially glad not to be in your business. Business was tough enough before social distancing closed every hospitality sports bar, and who knows when they'll recover. But I tell people right now, e-commerce is applicable to internal and external of everyone's business. If you're a principal, you better understand literally the strategies and the structure of e-commerce. If you're an HR person, not selling a product, but internally dealing with your employees, you now have to understand how e-com works, the communication, the motivations, inspirations, the quantified values, the qualifications, the loopholes, etc. So what are some of the lessons on the e-com side that you can help people? Because we've just accelerated, in my opinion, at least a decade with e-com. What are some of the lessons that you could share with us to prepare a traditional business for how they're going to have to do business in the future?
This is, we're kind of looking at like a whole online sales ecosystem, everything from the different marketing channels to your funnel, your unique selling proposition, to your landing page, and then, the retention aspect, which I think is largely overlooked. But, going through a basic understanding of what's helped Mike and I the most is getting a basic understanding of everything that basically is incorporated in that ecosystem. So for example, we didn't know Facebook advertising, and we've been through, we have an awesome agency now, been through different hires, we've been through other agencies, outsourced parties. And really what it came down to is, it was really hard for us to evaluate the success because we didn't have a fundamental understanding of it. The same thing happened with affiliate marketing, with podcast marketing, with SEO and content marketing, and just like the basic development of our site. And so finding a basic understanding where we have the mental ability to be able to evaluate KPIs and have the performance of other people that we're hiring and internally has been a game changer for us. And it's been a lot of failures, and it's been a lot of mishires, but it's something that, kind of the forest of the trees, where as we continue to grow and learn, understanding the basic fundamentals has been pivotal for us.
And Mike, how many of those fundamentals, I'm being in the same place as you, except for I'm kind of my Sunday Scaries, right? I'm the content, the quality, the product, the solution. And I have gone through a ton of different hires, and I came to the conclusion that there's a ton that everyone has to learn, and my expectations were misaligned. Mike, what's been your experience in learning as you go and not trusting, when you're in an expansive field, an accelerating field, trusting that anybody's truly an expert, that they're kind of learning as you go, and sometimes it's better just to learn it yourself?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think what we always try to do is separate enough time for performance and learning. So, sometimes the business needs performance and you need to get your hands dirty, and sometimes you really need to zoom out and read about what you're actually executing on. So I think actually balancing those two things out and doing a good job with that, and just having that trickle down through the entire organization. Because what we found is that rather than, being slave drivers and saying, hey, show up here and get this done by this time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, sometimes it's good to zoom out and invest in employees or team members and be like, hey, go out and learn this program, take the time doing it, and then come back and you'll be a warrior. with whatever particular sector that is. So we always try to remember that and to give each other time, whether Beau's in his learning stage and I'm in my performance stage, or vice versa. And we just support each other through those stages.
And, obviously the CBD space is crowded, complex, changing, accelerating. I've had friends that have done very well, and I've just had another friend lose everything. He's on the growing side, and he thought he was going to be a billionaire. And so, explain to me why Sunday Scaries is going to work.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy too. Like when we first got in the industry, we'd go out to a bar or something and somebody would ask, "Hey, what do you do?" And we'd say we own a CBD company. And, 3 years ago, it was like the coolest thing ever. And now we say it and, girl, she'll roll her eyes at you like, okay, sweet. My milkman and my mom own a CBD company. So that you ain't shit, right?
I love that.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. And we always have a pulse on the industry, but at the same time, we put blinders on and just concentrate on the customer journey and what our actual consumer base is saying to us, and we just practice Kaizen, continual improvement, just get better and better every day. But I think what separates us is our why, and for that, it's just creating a community and bringing people together. So, but yeah, working in the hospitality industry, you have a reverse schedule from all your friends. Your busy hours are during Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And this can get incredibly lonely because the time you have off is end of the day on Sunday. And then, Monday when everybody's getting back to work and concentrating on their stuff. So I personally just had a very hard time with this, battling the loneliness and just feeling super isolated. And beyond the scheduling conflicts with friends and family, I also have a soft spot for people feeling alone or in their heads because I lost my little sister, Julia, to suicide in 2011. So, she was battling with her mental health issues and obviously felt like she was alone in dealing with them. And this was the fuel to my fire to build a community of people who feel welcome and at ease in their own minds. So my older sister, actually, Caroline, became my accountability partner when I started feeling lonely and worried. And I'd call her every Sunday, those days where, my quote unquote weekend started. And she'd help me relax, emphasize how grateful I should be for the things that were going well, and just gave me comfort. And actually called it, Sunday Scaries. And that's what really stuck with me ever since, and is why we have our company name. So that's our why, and I think that's why we're different. And Beau actually has a personal story for his why as well.
Yeah, it's actually not one I talk about a lot because I get emotional, but I lost my dad 3 years ago to a very unexpected event. It was June 21st, 2016. It was 2 days after Father's Day and 1 day after my brother's birthday. I'm one of three sons. And that was mid 2016, early 2017, working 80-hour work weeks. I mean, I was beyond stressed out. Kind of this, my dad was only 63, a firefighter for 30 years, healthy, and then just gone. And so for me, it took a lot of what's the point of working 80 hours a week? Like, what am I driving for? And I was just lost. And, a big part of our mission now is stopping that impatience and allowing you to concentrate and focus so you can get your bigger goals done. And I loved working 80 hours a week. I was just scatterbrained and super anxious and thinking about all these kind of mind erasing things. And that was also around the time we started taking CBD, because between the bar and personal life and family life and balancing friends and, like Mike said, missing out on everything, it was just whew. And so that was, kind of the inspiration. It kind of clicked for both Mike and I, who had experienced big losses and had big responsibilities as well. We had up to 50 employees at one point, so we had a lot of people we were responsible for. And CBD just kind of fit in there. And it's, we by no means do we think it's a cure-all, but it certainly had such a profound impact on our lives that we decided to make a change and dedicate our lives to it. So
that's awesome. Been doing trainings for over 20 years to empower over 1 billion people on earth to be happy. So we're completely aligned. And I think CBD plays a great part in allowing people to be at peace, to be what I call in neutral, to find their higher frequency and allow themselves to clear some of the interference that the ego or the scaries, the ego, make the scaries go away. Last question for you guys. In the realm of happiness, because I see you guys as ambassadors of mine for happiness, and your company, Sunday Scaries, as an ambassador and empowerment tool to help people be happy. What is the best happiness advice, especially now during this accelerated time of change and compressed uncertainty? What's your best happiness advice, since you both have had your struggles and stresses within the context of building your businesses? Can you give me your best piece of happiness advice? We'll start with Mike and go to Beau.
Yeah, sure. This kind of just reminds me of the problem that we're trying to address as a company. But I think it was me and Beau's problem that spilled into the company. But basically, right now what's going on is there's just information overload, and I think, especially with our target markets, the social expectations that you get with millennials on social media, or seeing all these people that are quote unquote successful or super happy, you start to kind of really internalize it all and feel like you're not good enough. So I think my answer to that is kind of try to stay off the phones. I mean, obviously the phone plays an important role in work and just social interaction, but I love getting outside and trying to take a break and doing that in a healthy way, whether it be hitting the beach, going for a hike, or just being outside in nature. But being an entrepreneur, it's tough because you always want to go, go, go. And, you watch The Last Dance and see Michael Jordan, who just had this fierce competitiveness, and you want to try to match that. But at the same time, like making sure that you're able to relax and you're able to recharge and decompress so you can perform at that peaked amount. So,
love it. How about you, Beau?
So I mean, this is basically like the underlying tone of Sunday Scaries, right? It's trying to get people to be happy. That's the outcome benefit. And personally, I found this when I started meditating in the last basically 6 months, is I'm the happiest after I accomplish what I truly know to be important to me. And whether that's calling my mom once a week, whether that's video conferencing with my brothers, whether that's finishing a project, it's really the big things. I pulled a book from my nightstand. Sure you've seen it?
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, I block off 8 a.m. to noon every day. I don't take calls, meetings, and I just focus on the most important things. And once I have those done, I have found that I am profoundly happier on a daily basis, because I know they're the most important things of my personal, professional, and family life. And at the end of the day, if I don't get to something that's small I can email, I'm never upset about it. What actually pisses me off is when I let the emails or social media consume me, so I can't get the important things done. And I'm more disappointed in myself. So that's what I focus on.
That's awesome. It sounds like you guys have a great inventory of your values. I would make a big bet on Sunday Scaries. You guys got it under control. And it, as you know, much easier than running a sports bar. So congratulations on being smart enough to get out of there. Because I have one general rule, right? Employees and overhead. If you don't like someone, wish upon them employees and overhead, especially young employees and overhead. And add alcohol in there, and you even got a better business. So that'll stress me out. Anyway, congratulations. You haven't checked out Sunday Scaries. It's a great solution and a great company to give you that sense of peace and happiness. Congratulations to both of you, Beau Schmitt, Mike Sills, co-founders of Sunday Scaries, here on Entrepreneurs, the Playbook.